2:30 in the morning, and I'm sitting in my kitchen like some pathetic detective in a noir film. Except instead of bourbon, I'm nursing lukewarm coffee that tastes like disappointment. The house creaks around me, this fixer-upper that Tara insisted we buy because it had character. Right now, the only character it's showing is the kind that keeps you awake with guilt. My name's Elliot Travis, but everyone calls me Eli. I'm 38, a maintenance foreman at North Point Tech, and apparently a complete fool. The kind of fool who doesn't notice his wife of 12 years has been networking until midnight 3 times this week. The front door clicks open with that particular stealth that screams guilt. Tara's trying to be quiet, which is hilarious because our old floors announce every footstep like a town crier. I hear her heels, the expensive ones I bought her for Christmas, clicking across the hardwood. She appears in the kitchen doorway, and even in the dim light, I can see she looks like she's been through a wind tunnel. Her auburn hair, usually perfect, is mussed. Her lipstick is gone, but there's a faint smudge of something darker on her collar. "You're up late," she says, not quite meeting my eyes. "Early," I correct. "I'm up early. There's a difference." Tara moves to the refrigerator, opens it, stares inside like it might contain answers to life's mysteries. The light catches her face, and I notice her makeup is smeared just slightly around her eyes. Professional hazard of being an HR manager. She's usually flawless. "Couldn't sleep," she says, grabbing a bottle of water. "Neither could I. Funny thing about empty beds, they're not very comfortable." She turns then, and there it is. That look I've been dreading and expecting in equal measure. Not shame, not guilt, not even anger. It's worse than all of those combined. It's pity. "Ely, we need to talk." "Do we?" "Because I've been sitting here for 2 hours, and I think I've figured most of it out already." She leans against the counter, crosses her arms. Even disheveled, Tara is beautiful, 33 years old, with the kind of confidence that comes from always being the smartest person in the room. At least, that's what she thinks. "You don't understand the situation," she starts. "Try me." It's complicated. Adultery usually is. The word hangs in the air between us like smoke. Tara's jaw tightens, and for a moment, I think she might actually deny it. Instead, she does something worse. She smiles, not a guilty smile, not an apologetic smile. A smug, self-satisfied smirk that makes my stomach turn. "Plenty of men want me, Eli. Maybe you should thank me for the company." The coffee mug in my hand suddenly feels very heavy. I set it down carefully, because throwing it would be satisfying for about 3 seconds, and I'd be the one cleaning up the mess afterward. Story of our marriage, really. "Well," I say, standing up slowly, "I hope you're charging by the hour. Hate to think you're giving away the merchandise for free." Her smirk falters just slightly. She wasn't expecting sarcasm. She was probably expecting tears, or shouting, or begging. Sorry to disappoint. I walk past her toward the door, grabbing my keys from the hook and my wallet from the counter. As I do, I notice her phone sitting there, screen down. She must have set it there when she came in. "Where are you going?" she asks. "Out. Don't wait up." "Eli, come on. We should discuss this like adults." I pause at the doorway and look back at her. She's still leaning against the counter, still wearing that expression like she's doing me a favor by coming home at all. "You know what, Tara? You're absolutely right. We should discuss this like adults. But first, one of us needs to start acting like one." I leave her standing there, mouth slightly open, probably for the first time in years not having a snappy comeback ready. The night air is cold against my face as I walk to my truck. Maine in October has a bite to it, especially at 3 in the morning. I sit behind the wheel for a moment, not starting the engine, just breathing. Then I remember her phone on the counter, and something clicks in my brain. Tara never leaves her phone lying around. She guards that thing like it contains state secrets, which, apparently it does. I go back inside. She's not in the kitchen anymore. I can hear the shower running upstairs. Perfect. The phone is still there, screen down. I flip it over and swipe up. Password protected, naturally. But I know Tara. I've known her for 15 years. Her password is probably her birthday, or our anniversary, or I try her sister's birthday. Nothing. Her mother's maiden name. Nothing. Then, because I'm apparently a glutton for punishment, I try the date we first met. The phone unlocks. Well, isn't that just perfect? She's cheating on me, but she's still sentimental enough to use our first meeting as her password. I'd laugh if it weren't so pathetic. I scroll through her messages, and it doesn't take long to find what I'm looking for. There's a contact labeled DV with a string of texts that would make a sailor blush. The most recent one, sent just 20 minutes ago. Thanks for tonight. Can't wait for next week's meeting. DV. I scroll up through their conversation, looking for clues. There, a message from 3 days ago. Derek, the quarterly reports can wait. I have other priorities. Derek Voss, regional director at the factory. Married to Linda Voss, 2 kids, drives a black BMW, and apparently has been having meetings with my wife. The shower is still running upstairs. I keep scrolling, and what I find makes my hands shake. Not with rage, but with something colder, more calculating. There's a whole folder of photos, screenshots of hotel reservations, a calendar with coded entries that correspond to Derek's business trips, and text messages that lay out their entire affair in explicit detail, going back 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of working late and networking events, and girls' nights out with Kelly. But here's the interesting part. It's not just an affair. They're planning something. There are messages about my attitude problem at work, about how Derek could handle the situation if Tara wanted to make a change. Then, I take screenshots of everything, send them to my own phone, then delete the evidence of my digital snooping. By the time the shower stops running, I'm back outside, sitting in my truck. My phone buzzes with the incoming photos. Evidence, ammunition, proof. I start the engine and drive to the only place that's open at 3:30 in the morning, the Denny's out on Route 9. I need coffee that doesn't taste like betrayal, and I need to think, because Tara's right about one thing. Plenty of men want her. She's beautiful, successful, charming when she wants to be. What she doesn't realize is that I've just become the one man who's going to make sure she gets exactly what she deserves. And if she thinks that smirk was her winning move, she's about to learn that I've been playing chess while she's been playing checkers. The Drunken Otter isn't much to look at. A dive bar that's been serving the working class of Millbrook since 1987, complete with sticky floors, neon beer signs, and the kind of atmosphere that makes you want to confess your sins or commit new ones. At 4 in the afternoon, it's the perfect place to meet Doug Henley, my oldest friend, and the closest thing this town has to a criminal mastermind. Doug's already at our usual booth when I walk in, nursing a beer and scrolling through his phone. He's 42, built like a linebacker gone soft, with graying hair and the kind of face that's seen too much. Used to be a cop until he decided that the private sector offered better opportunities for creative problem solving. You look terrible, he says without looking up. Thanks, you're a real confidence booster. Tara finally push you over the edge. I slide into the booth across from him. How'd you know? Because you called me at 6 this morning asking if I knew any good divorce lawyers, then hung up before I could answer. Plus, you've got that look. What look? The look of a man who's discovered his wife's been sampling the local cuisine. Doug has a way with words. It's one of his more endearing qualities, right up there with his complete lack of moral boundaries and his extensive knowledge of surveillance equipment. Her phone, I say, pulling out my own and showing him the screenshots. 6 months worth of evidence. Doug studies the images, whistling low under his breath. Derek Voss. Well, your wife's got expensive taste. You know him. Know of him. Regional director, big shot, married to Linda Voss. She's on the school board. Guy's got a reputation for being handsy with the female employees. There were rumors last year about him and some secretary, but nothing came of it, because Tara buried it in HR. And probably. So what's the plan? Divorce papers? Public confrontation? Or are we talking about something more creative? This is why I called Doug. Most people would tell me to take the high road, be the better person, handle it through proper legal channels. Doug understands that sometimes the high road is under construction. I want her to understand what it feels like, I say. The humiliation, the betrayal, the complete destruction of everything she thinks she's built. Doug grins. It's not a pleasant expression. Now you're talking my language. But we need to be smart about this. Tara's not stupid, and Derek's got connections. We go after them wrong, and you'll be the one who ends up destroyed. What do you have in mind? Information warfare. We use what they've given us against them. But first, we need more intelligence. I've got some equipment that might be useful. An hour later, we're in Doug's garage, which looks like a cross between an electronics repair shop and a spy movie set. He's got cameras, recording devices, computer equipment, and things I can't even identify. The beauty of modern technology, Doug says, holding up a device that looks like a USB drive, is that everyone thinks they're being careful, but they're actually leaving digital footprints everywhere. What does that do? Keylogger. Plug it into any computer, and it records every keystroke, passwords, emails, documents, everything, completely undetectable. How am I supposed to get access to their computers? Leave that to me. I've got a friend who does IT work at the factory. Owes me a favor. While Doug tinkers with his gadgets, I scroll through more of Tara's messages. There's something that's been bothering me about the timeline. Doug, look at this. I show him a message from Derek, dated 2 weeks ago. The quarterly review is coming up. Might be time to make some changes in maintenance. What's he talking about? My job evaluation. It's next month. The pieces start falling into place. They're not just having an affair. They're planning to get me fired. Doug looks up from his equipment. That would make the divorce easier for her. No alimony if you're unemployed. And Derek gets to play the hero, helping his girlfriend escape her loser husband. Except now we know about it. Doug's grin gets wider. This just got a lot more interesting. My phone buzzes. Text message from Tara. We need to talk when you get home. I show it to Doug. What do you think? I think she's realized she left her phone unattended last night. She's probably trying to figure out if you saw anything. Should I go back? Absolutely. But first, let's give her something to really worry about. Doug hands me a small recording device. Voice activated. Stick it anywhere in the house, under a table, behind a picture frame, whatever. It'll pick up conversations from 20 feet away. What about her phone? We've got copies of everything important. But here's a better idea. He shows me an app on his own phone. Spyware. If you can get her phone for just 2 minutes, I can install this. It'll mirror everything. Texts, calls, emails, even GPS location. That sounds illegal. Probably. You want legal? Call a lawyer. You want results? Stick with me. I take the recording device and the USB drive. What's next? We wait. Let them make the next move. Meanwhile, I'll work on getting access to Derek's computer at the factory. And Eli? Yeah? Don't tip your hand. Let Tara think she's still in control. The best revenge is the kind they never see coming. I drive home as the sun sets behind the trees, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. The house looks the same as always. White clapboard siding, green shutters, the porch light that flickers and needs to be replaced. From the outside, we probably look like the perfect suburban couple. Tara's car is in the driveway, which means she's home early, probably trying to do damage control. I find her in the living room, sitting on the couch with a glass of wine and a stack of papers spread out on the coffee table. She's changed into jeans and a sweater. Casual Tara, the version of herself she uses when she wants to seem approachable. There you are, she says, looking up with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I was worried. Were you? Of course. We had a fight last night, and you just disappeared. I didn't know where you went. I sit in the armchair across from her, noting the papers on the table. They look like financial documents. I went for a drive, needed to clear my head. I understand. This whole situation is confusing for both of us. Situation. Like she accidentally spilled coffee on my shirt, instead of spending 6 months in another man's bed. What are those? I nod toward the papers. Just some financial planning documents. I thought maybe we should look at our options. Options, right. I lean forward slightly, trying to get a better look without being obvious. I can see letterhead from a law firm, and what looks like asset valuation sheets. Tara, can I ask you something? Of course. Are you happy? The question catches her off guard. She sets down her wine glass and studies my face like she's trying to solve a puzzle. What do you mean? I mean, are you happy? With us? With your life? With the choices you've made? That's a complicated question, Eli. It shouldn't be. She's quiet for a long moment, and I can see her calculating her response. This is Tara at her most dangerous, when she's thinking strategically instead of emotionally. I think we've grown apart, she finally says. People change. What they want changes. And what do you want now? I want to be with someone who appreciates me. Someone who sees my potential instead of taking me for granted. Someone like Derek Voss? The wine glass slips from her fingers, but she catches it before it falls. Her face goes very still. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. Regional director. Drives a BMW. Has been having meetings with you for the past 6 months. Tara stands up slowly, and I can see her mind racing. She's trying to figure out how much I know, and how I found out. You went through my phone. You left it on the counter, with our first date as the password. Sentimental touch, by the way. You had no right. I had every right. I'm your husband. Or at least, I was until you decided to audition for a replacement. Mm. She moves toward the window, putting distance between us. It's not what you think. Really? Because I think it's exactly what it looks like. An affair with your boss, plans to get me fired, and a nice little exit strategy that leaves you with the house and no alimony obligations. Tara turns back to face me, and the mask finally slips. No more apologetic wife, no more confusion or regret, just cold calculation. You don't understand how the world works, Eli. You never have. You're content to fix machines and collect a paycheck, but some of us have ambitions. Ambitions that include adultery, ambitions that include making strategic choices about my future. And Derek is your future? Derek is successful. Derek has vision. Derek sees potential in me that you've never bothered to notice. Derek is married with 2 kids. Derek's marriage is a business arrangement. Linda knows exactly what she signed up for. I stand up and walk to the mantelpiece, where there's a framed photo of our wedding day. We look so young, so hopeful. I pick it up and study it for a moment. You know what the funny thing is, Tara? I actually thought about fighting for you. When I first figured it out, my instinct was to try to win you back. Now, I set the photo back down, face down. Now I realize that would be like fighting for something that was never really mine to begin with. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm done. You want Derek? You can have him. You want a divorce? File the papers. You want to destroy my career? Go ahead and try. She looks confused, like this isn't the reaction she was expecting. Just like that? Just like that. But Tara, what? You might want to be careful about underestimating people. You never know what they're capable of when they've got nothing left to lose. I leave her standing in the living room and head upstairs to pack a bag. As I'm gathering clothes, I plant Doug's recording device behind the dresser, where it's invisible but has a clear line of sight to the bed. When I come back downstairs with my suitcase, Tara is on the phone. She sees me and quickly ends the call. Where are you going? Motel on Route 9. Don't worry, I'll make sure the divorce papers can find me. I head for the door, then pause. Oh, and Tara? You might want to change your passwords. You never know who might be watching. The look on her face as I close the door behind me is worth every sleepless night I've had this week. Phase 1 complete. The Millbrook Motor Lodge isn't exactly the Ritz, but it's clean, cheap, and has Wi-Fi strong enough to support Doug's surveillance equipment. I've been here 3 days, living off takeout, and watching my marriage implode in real time through hidden cameras and intercepted communications. Doug's keylogger worked like a charm. Within 24 hours, we had access to Derek's work computer, and what we found was better than I'd hoped. The man's been running his own little kingdom at North Point Tech. Falsified overtime reports, sexual harassment complaints that mysteriously disappeared, and a creative accounting system that would make a mob boss proud. But the real goldmine is the recording device I planted in the bedroom. Tara and Derek had a very illuminating conversation last night about their plans for my upcoming performance review. I'm listening to the audio on my laptop when Doug knocks on the motel room door. He comes in carrying coffee and a manila folder, thick with documents. Please tell me that's not more bad news, I say. Depends on your perspective. I've got Derek's complete employment file, courtesy of my friend in IT. The guy's got more red flags than a Soviet parade. Doug spreads the contents of the folder across the small table. Employment records, performance reviews, incident reports, and what looks like legal documents. And 3 sexual harassment complaints in 5 years, Doug continues. All of them handled internally by HR. Guess who was in charge of the investigations? My loving wife. Give the man a prize. Every complaint was dismissed due to lack of evidence or misunderstanding of professional boundaries. But here's the interesting part. 2 of the complainants were transferred to different departments shortly afterward. One of them quit entirely. I studied the documents. This is a pattern, a very expensive pattern for the company. They've been paying settlement money to keep these women quiet, and Derek's been promoted twice in the same period because Tara's been protecting him, and he's been protecting her. Look at this. Doug shows me a performance review from 2 years ago. Tara got a raise and a promotion right after the second harassment complaint was buried. My phone buzzes with a text from Tara. Can we meet for lunch? We need to discuss practical matters. I show it to Doug. What do you think? I think she's getting nervous. Derek probably told her to do damage control. Should I go? Absolutely. But wear this. He hands me a device that looks like a pen. Audio recorder. Get her talking about Derek. about your job, about anything that might be useful later. An hour later, I'm sitting across from Tara at Murphy's Diner, the kind of place where the coffee's strong and the waitresses call everyone hun. She's dressed professionally, navy suit, minimal jewelry, her hair pulled back in a neat bun. This is business Tara, which means she's about to try to negotiate. You look tired, she says when I sit down. Motels aren't known for their comfort. You could come home. We're both adults. We can coexist until we figure things out. Figure what out? She orders coffee from the waitress, then leans forward slightly. The logistics, Eli. We have a house, joint accounts, shared debts. This doesn't have to be ugly, doesn't it? Not if we're reasonable about it. I study her face. She's nervous, but trying to hide it behind her professional demeanor. What did you have in mind? A clean separation. You keep your truck, your tools, your personal belongings. I keep the house and my car. We split the savings account down the middle. And my job. Something flickers in her eyes. What about your job? My performance review is next week. I'm wondering if I should be concerned. Why would you be concerned? You're good at what you do. Am I? Because I've been hearing rumors that there might be some changes in the maintenance department. Tara sips her coffee, buying herself time to think. Companies are always making changes, Eli. It's not personal. Even when the regional director is sleeping with the HR manager? She sets down her cup with a sharp click. Keep your voice down. Why? Afraid someone might overhear? Might damage Derek's reputation? This isn't about Derek. Everything's about Derek. Your late nights, your new clothes, your sudden interest in strategic career planning. Hell, even this conversation is about Derek. Tara looks around the diner, checking to see if anyone's listening. The lunch crowd is typical small-town fare. Construction workers, retirees, a few office workers grabbing quick meals. Nobody's paying attention to us. Derek has nothing to do with our marriage problems, she says quietly. Our marriage problems started 6 months ago. Coincidentally, that's exactly when you started having meetings with Derek. You don't understand the situation. Then explain it to me. She's quiet for a long moment, staring into her coffee like it might contain answers. When she finally speaks, her voice is barely above a whisper. I was lonely, Eli. You work all day, come home exhausted, fall asleep watching television. When was the last time we had a real conversation? When was the last time you asked about my day, my dreams, my goals, so you decided to discuss your goals with Derek instead? Derek listens to me. He values my input. He treats me like an equal partner instead of a roommate who happens to share his bed. And in return, you help him cover up sexual harassment complaints? Her face goes pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do. 3 complaints in 5 years, all dismissed by HR, all handled by you personally. That's quite a coincidence. Those complaints were investigated thoroughly and buried thoroughly. How much did the company pay to make those women go away? Tara stands up abruptly. I don't have to listen to this. No, you don't. But you might want to consider what happens when those complaints become public knowledge. She sits back down, her professional composure cracking slightly. What do you want, Eli? I want honesty. For once in the past 6 months, I want you to tell me the truth. The truth is that I fell in love with someone who appreciates me. And the truth about my job? Another long pause. Derek thinks it might be better for everyone if you found employment elsewhere. Better for everyone, or better for Derek? It's awkward, having you there. People might start to talk. People are already talking. The question is whether they're talking about Derek's affair or Derek's creative approach to human resources management. Tara's phone buzzes on the table. She glances at it, and I can see Derek's name on the screen. You should probably answer that, I say. Wouldn't want to keep your boss waiting. She declines the call. This doesn't have to be a war, Eli. You're right, it doesn't have to be. But you started it the moment you decided to destroy my career, to make your affair more convenient. I never said anything about destroying your career. You didn't have to. Derek's been setting me up for months. Impossible repair schedules, equipment failures that somehow become my fault, performance metrics that change every week. He's building a case to fire me, and you're helping him do it. That's not true, isn't it? Then explain why my work assignments have gotten progressively more difficult since you started sleeping with him. Explain why I'm suddenly being written up for things that were never problems before. Tara doesn't answer, which is answer enough. I lean back in the booth and study her face. She looks smaller somehow, like the weight of her choices is finally starting to register. You know what the really sad part is, Tara? I would have fought for us. If you'd come to me 6 months ago and said you were unhappy, If you'd asked for counseling, or a trial separation, or even just an honest conversation about our problems, I would have moved heaven and earth to save our marriage. And now I'm going to move heaven and earth to make sure you and Derek get exactly what you deserve. I stand up and throw a $10 bill on the table. Enjoy your lunch. And Tara, you might want to tell Derek that his creative bookkeeping is about to become very public knowledge. I leave her sitting there, staring after me with something that might be fear in her eyes. Uh, Outside in the parking lot, I call Doug. How'd it go? He asks. She admitted everything. Derek's trying to get me fired. She's been helping him cover up harassment complaints, and they think they're going to ride off into the sunset together. Perfect. You get it all on tape? I check the recording pen. Every word. Then it's time for phase 2. I've got a meeting set up with someone from the state labor board tomorrow morning. Turns out they've been looking for an excuse to investigate North Point Tech for quite a while. What about Derek? Leave Derek to me. I've got something special planned for him. Well, as that evening, I'm back in my motel room when my phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Eli Travis? The voice is female, nervous. Yes. Who is this? My name is Jennifer Walsh. I used to work at North Point Tech. I heard you might be having some problems with Derek Voss. I sit up straighter. What kind of problems did you have with him? The kind that ended my career and nearly destroyed my marriage. Can we meet? There are some things you need to know about Derek and your wife. I arranged to meet Jennifer the next morning at a coffee shop across town. After I hang up, I call Doug. We might have an ally, I tell him about the phone call. Jennifer Walsh, that name sounds familiar. Let me check my files. A few minutes later, he calls back. Found her. She's one of the harassment complainants from 2 years ago. Filed a complaint against Derek, then suddenly transferred to a different department and quit 3 months later. Think she'll talk? If she called you, she's ready to talk. The question is whether anyone will listen. They'll listen. I'm going to make sure of it. I spend the rest of the evening reviewing the evidence Doug and I have collected. Audio recordings, financial documents, employment records, and now potentially a witness willing to go on record. Tara and Derek think they're playing chess, but they've been playing with a marked deck. They just don't know it yet. Tomorrow, the real game begins. Jennifer Walsh turns out to be a soft-spoken woman in her early 30s, with intelligent eyes and the kind of nervous energy that comes from carrying secrets too long. We meet at Common Grounds, a coffee shop on the opposite side of town from North Point Tech, where the chances of running into anyone from work are minimal. I wasn't sure I should call, she says, stirring sugar into her latte with shaking hands. But when I heard Derek was targeting another employee, I couldn't stay quiet anymore. What happened to you? Jennifer takes a deep breath. I was a project coordinator in Derek's department. Good performance reviews, no disciplinary issues, clean record. Derek started asking me to stay late for special projects. Then the requests became more personal. Dinner meetings that weren't really about business, comments about my appearance. Eventually, he made it clear that my career advancement depended on how cooperative I was willing to be. Did you report it? I filed a formal complaint with HR. Your wife interviewed me personally. Jennifer's voice turns bitter. She was very professional, very sympathetic. Told me the company took these matters seriously and would conduct a thorough investigation. But they didn't. Oh, they investigated. They interviewed Derek, who denied everything. They reviewed my performance records and found several concerning patterns that had never been mentioned before. Suddenly, I was a problem employee with unrealistic expectations and a tendency toward inappropriate workplace relationships. I feel my jaw clench. They turned it around on you. Within 2 weeks, I was transferred to a different department with a pay cut. The message was clear. Shut up or lose your job entirely. I lasted 3 months before I couldn't take it anymore. Why didn't you take it to the state labor board? Jennifer laughs, but there's no humor in it. With what evidence? HR had built a paper trail that made me look like a disgruntled employee, making false accusations. Derek was the golden boy, and Tara was the competent professional who handled a difficult situation appropriately. But you kept records. I kept everything. Emails, text messages, witness statements from coworkers who saw Derek's behavior. Not that anyone was willing to go on record. She pulls out a manila envelope and slides it across the table. Copies of everything. I've been carrying this around for 2 years, waiting for the right moment. I open the envelope and scan through the documents. Email chains that show a clear pattern of harassment. Text messages that are inappropriate by any professional standard. and witness statements that corroborate Jennifer's story. This is explosive, I tell her. It's also dangerous. Derek has connections throughout the company and the local business community. Going after him means going after the entire system that protects him. I'm not afraid of Derek. You should be. He's not just a predator, Eli. He's a vindictive predator. When he decides someone is a threat, he doesn't just neutralize them. He destroys them. My phone buzzes with a text from Doug. Meet me at the factory. Bring whatever Jennifer gave you. It's showtime. I show the message to Jennifer. Are you willing to go public with this? She stares into her coffee for a long moment. Will it stop him? It'll sure as hell try. Then yes, I'm tired of being afraid. An hour later, Doug and I are sitting in his truck in the North Point Tech parking lot, watching employees stream out for their lunch break. He's got a laptop open and several pieces of electronic equipment I don't recognize. Jennifer's evidence is the missing piece, he says, scrolling through the documents. Combined with what we've already collected, this paints a picture of systematic corruption. What's the plan? Simple. We're going to let Derek and Tara destroy themselves. But first, we need to flush them out, make them panic. Doug shows me an email on his laptop screen. I sent this to Derek's work account 20 minutes ago from an anonymous address. The email is short and to the point. We know about the harassment complaints. We know about the financial irregularities. We know about your affair with Tara Travis. Resign quietly or face the consequences. Think he'll bite? He's probably having a panic attack right now. Let's go find out. We walk into the factory through the main entrance. I badge in like normal, and Doug follows as my guest. The administrative offices are on the second floor, accessible by a staircase that overlooks the main production floor. Derek's office is at